Hi everyone. Whoopsies. I had the phone. Well, do you know, I actually had the phone on I had it the right way. I had it on landscape because for some reason Facebook Live isn't allowing me to do landscape. It made me rotate my phone, but then it switched it round for me. So I almost gave you a Facebook Live of the back of my wall. Might have been quite interesting, but I reckon I can do a better job. But anyway, my name's David Hamilton. I'm the kindness czar for Psychologies magazine. You know, I wanted to do a wee chat today about things that are contagious, not coronavirus though, because that's all we hear about, isn't it? I mean, coronavirus is this contagious, that contagious. We're all talking about the R number at the moment. R number really means reproducibility rate. It's how many people are infected by something. You know, so if it's less than 1, for example, the way it works, if it let's say it's 0.9, then 0.9 people, one person will infect 0.9, who will infect 0.9, who will infect 0.9. So at 3 levels of infection, 0.9, 0.9, 0.9 is, 981, about 0.72, so less than 1 person is infected from 1 person. So what happens is it reduces infection rate. But I'm not interested in coronavirus anymore. I want to tell you about other things that are contagious. Now, obviously, kindness is contagious. I've talked about this in other Facebook Lives, and I will go back onto it at the end. But I want to just share some other things that are contagious and why. Now, I'm smiling here. I notice myself smiling in the camera lens, and smiling is highly contagious. And the reason being is, see this wee muscle here that pulls your lips into a smile? That's called your zygomaticus major. Test at the end, by the way, so write that down. And that one here is your orbicularis oculi. That tells the difference between if you tell someone a joke and you see a crease there, then they genuinely find it funny. If you tell one of my jokes and people go, "Oh, that was very good there," yeah, and there's no real crease there, it's a pity laugh, right? So it's not a real laugh. The difference is it's called a D-smile. So this is your really seriously laughing and smiling muscle here. But this is a predominant one here. So if I'm smiling, for example, then your brain has a little circuit called the mirror neuron system, or MNS for short. And what the mirror neuron system does is it mirrors stuff. So your brain, through your eyes and through your ears also, as you listen to my voice, your brain, through your eyes, detects the activity of this muscle here as I'm smiling. And what your brain does is it mirrors it, hence mirror neuron system. Neurons are the brain cells, nerve cells in the brain, so that a neuron system is a system of nerve cells in the brain. So the mirror neuron system is that part of the brain that mirrors what you see or what you observe. So your brain mirrors me smiling, and it takes a snapshot like a photograph, but in real time, and then what it does is it pulls your own zygomaticus major muscle. So as your brain then pulls your zygomaticus major muscle and your orbicularis oculi, if I'm really genuinely happy, then that causes you to smile. And you will probably feel happier as a consequence. And if you think that's not true, a study in Sweden a couple of years ago got volunteers to look at a screen, and for a fraction of a second, faster than you could consciously register, the screen, there was a smiley face appeared on the screen. And everyone was asked, "Did you see that? Anything on the screen?" And they said, "No, nothing at all. I'm just waiting for you to do something." But in actual fact, what had popped onto the screen really, really fast was a smiley face. Really so quick that they couldn't consciously detect it. But their mirror neuron system picked it up, because your brain is really, really super cool and really super fast. And the mirror neuron system picked it up and took a snapshot. And everyone in the study was wired up to little electronic devices that were measuring stimulation of facial muscles. So guess what? Every single person, even though they didn't think they saw anything on the screen, every single person's smile muscles went like that. Every single person. Isn't that amazing? See, if you smile at someone and they don't smile back, they really did. They just did it so fast they didn't realise they did it. So if you smile at someone and they just frown as they walk past you, just go, they really did smile. They just didn't know that they smiled. So smiling is highly contagious. You know what else is contagious, is closely related, is happiness. And happiness is contagious, again, in large part through this mirror neuron system. So let's say you're hanging out with someone who's genuinely feeling quite happy. then they will smile not just once but several times. And so the longer you're with that person, the more snapshots your mirror neuron system will take of their smile muscles. And here's the really magical wee bit. As your mirror neuron system causes your face to smile, every time it does that, it sends data into the emotional circuitry of your brain, in particular into the happiness and positive emotion circuitry of your brain. So the more time you spend in the company of someone who's happy, the more data goes to stimulate the happy centers of your brain, because your brain is copying the facial expressions and even the vocal intonations as well. They're part of the mirror neuron system. So the longer you spend with a happier person, the more chance you have of becoming happier. There is a very high R number for happiness, contagion number. And do you know what? It even goes out beyond just what that one person. If, let's say, you were to be feeling really happy, or let's say today, I'm feeling quite happy because I love doing these, I love talking to people and doing these little chats and these little lives and videos and stuff. And so let's say, because I feel quite happy doing this, and I was to, through you looking at my face and seeing that I was obviously feeling quite happy about this, your mirror neuron system was stimulated repeatedly. And let's say we've been hanging out like this for a quarter of an hour. I'll do my best to stretch the video out for that reason. And so let's say you're feeling better as a so you just smiled, didn't you? Because your mirror neuron system picked. You did it again. And again. See, because your mirror neuron, and again, because your mirror neuron system's picking up my smile muscles. There you go. So let's say you're hanging out with a happy person for a wee while, and then so your mirror neuron system is copying the smile, so it's sending multiple loads of frequencies to your brain. You're feeling happier as a consequence. Then afterwards, you go away and you go about your business, but you're still feeling happier because there's a residual effect on your brain that's occasionally tugging your muscles, so you meet life experiences in a slightly different way. So what that does is it increases the likelihood that you will pass that effect on to someone else by smiling a little bit more than you would normally do, by even having a lilt in your step. Longer term studies, averaged over thousands of people, find that over a period of time, if you're consistently in the presence of a happy person, it raises your consistent happiness level, and that causes you then to impact on another person, who then impacts on another person. So happiness actually has a ripple effect. The downside of it is because it's called emotional contagion. So emotions are contagious. So the downside is depression is also contagious in much the same way, for the way that if you hang out consistently with someone feeling depressed, then because of how they move their face and breathe and hold their bodies, then there is an increased likelihood that you can catch those same emotions, and that's also been statistically measured to have a bit of a ripple effect. So also is stress. Actually, there's clever little ways that you can deflect negative emotional contagion. So emotions that you don't want to pick up, it's called emotional contagion, but the negative emotional contagion, but you can deflect it. And one of the ways to do it is simply notice it's happening. The moment you notice it's happening, you then have control over the agency. So instead of mirroring, which you tend to do unconsciously, decide to consciously do something with your face. So for example, stretch your facial muscles. It overloads the circuitry, the information that's been going for. Then straighten your spine. Stand up straight, because what will happen if you're catching negative emotion, even stress for example, is your body will be moving in sync, in mirror, in response to the other person that you're in contact with. So if you take control, straighten your spine, do the opposite. In other words, drop your shoulders, move your facial muscles. Obviously, if you're at a meeting, you maybe wouldn't do that because people would talk, but you can accidentally drop your pen. Oh, I seem to have dropped my pen. Yeah, and move your face like a gargoyle as you do it. And what it does, it just overloads, it replaces the previous data that's going in and gives your brain something else to do. And then, spine straight, straighten up, lengthen your spine if you can, stretch it up like a wee centimetre, drop your shoulders, smile and breathe. And if you do that, then what happens is the emotional contagion reverses. So instead of you catching emotion from someone, you begin to project your state. And you can actually, I've done it intentionally, you can actually have a positive impact on people who are feeling stressed or even low in the moment if you do this and have enough, really do it positively and confidently, you can have a subtle, sometimes more than subtle effect on the people that you're interacting with at that time. So loads of things are contagious. Get this, alcohol behaviour is contagious. And it's through something called social contagion. So we're not talking about the mirror neuron system here, we're talking about seeing other people doing something and somehow you end up doing the same yourself, and that's called social contagion. Giving up smoking is highly contagious. There's actually a study on smoking cessation and its ripple effect. That's not the title of it, but ripple effect is essentially what happened is somebody that you know gives up smoking and they're really adamant about it, and that somehow makes you think, you know what, I'm going to give up smoking as well. And you become really adamant about it, and studies show that it actually ripples out to like 3 social steps. Another thing that's contagious is cardiovascular disease and weight gain. In fact, weight gain especially was shown to infect at 3 degrees of separation. And it's through, again, social contagion. It's eating and behavioural habits seem to impact on other people, not just necessarily people in the household, but people that you come into contact with at work, friends and stuff. Because we hang out and interact a lot, is one person's behaviour rubs off in someone else. And if that behaviour leads to increased weight, then that person who's now learned from you through social contagion then passes it on to someone else. And what was measured at a study at Harvard University was that weight gain went out to 3 social steps. In other words, your sister's hairdresser's best friend could cause you to gain a couple of pounds. Even though you've never in your life, nor will you ever meet your sister's hairdresser's best friend. But believe it or not, if your sister's hairdresser's best friend gained a couple of pounds, there is about calculated 6% chance, based on that research, that you could cause yourself to gain a few pounds as well. And you think, well, how on earth? Yeah, my sister's hairdresser's best friend. Well, your sister's hairdresser's best friend is 3 social steps from you. But that sister's hairdresser's best friend, through her behaviour, causes her behaviour to rub off on your sister's hairdresser. And then your sister goes to her hairdresser when she's not on lockdown and gets her hair cut. And she's doing that regularly. So she now, some of the hairdresser's behaviour rubs off on your sister, and you come into contact with your sister consistently, and eventually there's a chance that you might pick up some of that behaviour as well. And it sounds mental, it sounds really, really daft, but I'm telling you, 3 degrees of contagion, it's called 3 degrees of separation. Most things ripple out through either the mirror neuron system or through social contagion. But anyway, I thought, we're all talking about coronavirus contagion at the moment, and it's good that the R number, I'm broadcasting from the UK here, I know there's people watching this internationally, but for those in the UK, the R number is below 1, which means that less than 1 person will be infected by someone who has coronavirus, so like 0.9 of a person. I mean, that'd be quite weird, that just the rest of your body, not that part. Anyway, I'm just talking rubbish. I'm just trying to make you smile, because I'm talking about happiness contagion and smiling contagious, and even telling crap jokes and acknowledging that they're crap jokes. It can have, see, you just smiled there because I smiled. Smiling contagion. Anyway, last thing. Kindness is highly contagious, and the reason being, and it's the contagion factor, the R number for kindness is about 5. It can be 4, sometimes even 4.5. It depends on culture, it depends on where you are in the world, but averaged out it's about 5. And that means that if you be kind to someone, because of how you make that person feel, because whether they feel uplifted or thankful, grateful, or just feeling nice and warm because, it's been really, really nice, they will likely, over the course of the next 24 hours, that person will be kind or kinder to 5 people. But each of those 5, research at Harvard and Yale found, each of those 5 will be kind or kinder to 5 people each. So that's 5 times 5. So that's, each of these 5 people will be kind to 5 people. So 5 times 5 is 25. That's at 2 steps. But it goes to 3 steps. And each of those 25 will be kind or kinder to 5 people, which is 125 because of how they've been made to feel. So when you do a wee act of kindness, about 125 people have been affected further down the road. Now, if you had to follow the first person around and then follow everyone around with a wee drone, which I hope you don't do, but if you did do that, you probably would find that it wouldn't be exactly 125. It might be a wee bit less, it might be a wee bit more, it might be a heck of a lot more, it might be a heck of a lot less. But averaged out, these numbers are statistical averages, so averaged out, it would be about 125. The point I'm making is when you do something kind, you're making a difference to much more than that one person. Because of how you made the person feel, they go on to infect someone else with the spirit of what you did for them. So please don't ever feel small. Please don't ever feel that you don't make a difference, because you absolutely make a difference every single day, not only by just smiling at people, by being nice to people, by working on yourself and feeling little bits of happiness from time to time, but every wee act of kindness, whether even if it doesn't seem very large or meaningful to you, makes a difference to that person. But because that spirit that you've infected the person with, how you made them feel, they will then carry that act of kindness on, and it will go on and on and on. Just like a wee pebble dropped in a pond sends a wee wave over the pond that makes a lily pad do that. So the lily pad is all the people that are being affected by that simple little wave that you set in motion. So there you go. Things that are, this sounds like a quiz question, eh? Things that are contagious, not counting coronavirus. Go. Sounds like a quiz question, eh? So there you go. Things that are contagious, not counting coronavirus. We have smiling, we have happiness, we have stress and depression, we have alcohol behaviour, we have giving up smoking. Oh, divorcing is also socially contagious, so divorce. And then we have weight gain, we have cardiovascular disease, which is closely linked. It's also contagious, again, through picking up habits from other people. And then lastly, we had kindness is contagious. There's probably more things that are contagious, but you know, I'm just riffing this off the top of my head. But believe it or not, I've done no preparation for this at all. But I have written 10 books, and so I remember a lot of scientific studies, and I lecture all the time anyway. You can catch a lot of my videos on Psychologies, also on my own page, David R. Hamilton, PhD, on Facebook, Instagram. You can read my books if you like. You can be the one. There you go. Or I think 2 or 3 people now have maybe read some of them. Anyway, I've rambled enough. I'm just trying to continue the positive smiling. You smiled again. You did it again. I'm guessing this because mirror neuron system, no one's devoid of it. It happens to everyone. So there you go. So I'll leave you with a smile. Wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now. Oh, by the way, in case you forgot, I'm David Hamilton, in case this is the first time you're seeing me. So anyway, have a great day, stay safe and be kind.